The Colours That Blind, Chapter 57. Ambuya's Story. There is a thing they say about dead things, that they're hard to let go. They say it is the grief that ties you to them and makes you scared of losing what you've already lost. As I walked off the veranda towards the gum trees, tears salty on my lips, my hands held up the hem of my skirt containing the broken tufts of my hair and would not let go. I see the questions in your eyes, Muzukuru, wondering where I am going with it and what I thought I would do. And I can only plead insanity because all I know is that I grieved for that loss. You run after her, you turn your back on your whole family, Matthew, for good, I could hear Philip screaming from behind me. Then were feet thudding hurriedly behind me and the shout of my name. Tandiwe, wait, he insisted, now standing in front of me. Let me through, Matthew. I tightened my grip on the hem and lifted my head high. I had lost so much already. I would not be ridiculed for whatever it was I was doing now. Let me through. You're upset. I pulled my head back with my eyebrows raised. Upset? Don't you dare tell me what I am. You don't know a thing. I am risking everything by being here with you, Tandiwe. You could at least... Risking everything? Must I now kneel down in gratitude? Because clearly I'm now indebted to you for this kindness, Matthew. You honestly think you're doing me a favour by coming here? Look at what they did because you smiled at me. He looked down. We were only fooling ourselves, thinking we could forget our places and begin again. There is no mending this. This, I said, choking down their tears, is what they think I deserve. I expected him to walk away, but instead he stared into my eyes. I meant what I said earlier. The fighting must stop. He frowned for a moment as though deep in thought. Would you like us to bury it? What? I clicked my tongue in annoyance and tried pushing past him. You already have it there in your skirt, so we could bury it. I stayed silent, not knowing what to say. Come, he said, leading me along a path that started a little distance after the big masasa tree, meandering into the thick of the woods. I followed him, hands still clutching my hem. I could feel my mood lighten as I watched him dig a small hole in the ground, and I wanted to cackle at the absurdity. Do you want to say something? He asked after he was done. I looked at him, still baffled. Well, he asked, with a seriousness on his face that made me melt inside. I shrugged and let go of the hem, watching the tufts slowly unroll into the little hole he had dug. He watched too, then cleared his throat. Well, I'd like to say that this hair was a true thing of beauty. My eyes welled up as his turned and stayed on me. But you, even without it, are still a work of art. The most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I looked down, thinking of my patchy head and mangled jaw. He scooped up the loose earth he had dug and swept it back into the hole, spreading it over the hair and patting it down before standing up and looking at me again. We stood there awkwardly for a while, not knowing how to proceed. You should go back to the house before your cousin sends an army looking for you. I don't have any more hair to shave on my head. He looked at me, smiled, and drew closer to me. He'll have to shave mine then. I'm sure he'll enjoy that too. I could feel the light touch of his breath on my face as he spoke. I gave a light chuckle. The reality of what had happened writhed inside my being, and then it came like a purging, sudden gushes of violent sobs that erupted out of me. He pulled me into his chest and held me so tightly I thought I would break. I'm sorry, he whispered into my ear. As his cheek lingered on my face, I could feel the dampness that sat between us, and I knew then that we were both crying.